Do you believe African American Christmas dining in the 1960s and 70s resembled what we see today? Reconsider. Prior to quick shops and pre-made packages, Black households assembled holiday meals, demanding weeks of advance work and inherited knowledge passed down through time. Let's explore 30 Christmas soul food dishes that have silently vanished. Whiskey-infused fruitcake stood as the masterpiece of Black Christmas gatherings, demanding weeks of advance work that contemporary cooks seldom undertake. Households started combining preserved fruits, nuts, and sugared citrus peel in late October, allowing them to marinate in whiskey until swollen and aromatic. The mixture was thick with dark syrup, caramelized sugar, and toasty seasonings that saturated kitchens with scents, declaring the season had begun. Matriarchs bundled completed cakes in cotton cloth, drenched with additional whiskey, preserving them where they matured like premium spirits. Each several days, someone would uncover the cakes and coat them with new alcohol, converting basic components into something remarkable. By Christmas dawn, these cakes had achieved complexity no commercial alternative could replicate. Cut delicately and presented with coffee, they transformed into focal points of festive spreads from Georgia to Illinois. The practice demanded dedication and faith that worthwhile outcomes reward those with patience. Christmas Eve. Shellfish chowder occupied a revered position in Black holiday customs, presented as relatives assembled before late-night worship gatherings. The process was misleadingly straightforward. Raw oysters cooked slowly in fresh milk and cream until their borders rippled and the liquid became velvety with oceanic richness. African American households along the Atlantic coastline and southern waters had availability to fresh shellfish, rendering this meal both extravagance and declaration of success. The chowder was presented in the household's finest porcelain, frequently dishes saved solely for this yearly custom. Young ones sat mesmerized as elders spooned the smooth liquid, their initial encounter with something refined. Square crackers drifted atop, melting into the heated broth, while oysters discharged their oceanic character. This wasn't ordinary preparation, it was ritual, a moment before Christmas morning that linked generations through collective expectation and gentle solemnity. Lane cake stood as the spectacular centerpiece of Southern African American Christmas occasions, a magnificent construction requiring expertise and components that strained family finances to their breaking point. Created by Emma Rylander Lane from Alabama, this dessert showcased tender ivory tiers stuffed with whiskey, dried grapes, shredded coconut, and pecans heated until dense and lustrous. Black cooks modified the formula through generations, incorporating their personal variations. Extra whiskey for some, preserved cherries for others, while preserving its iconic nature. The stuffing demanded continuous mixing over gentle flame, a thoughtful activity that couldn't be hurried. Constructing the cake required stable hands, each tier strategically positioned before being topped with airy ivory icing. Lane cake graced Christmas displays across Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia, announcing the household had invested generously for the celebration. Presently, few pastry makers tackle its intricacy, allowing this treasure to disappear into history. Homemade custard punch served as the festive beverage that converted African American Christmas gatherings into moments of comfort throughout the 1960s and 70s. Households blended together raw eggs, sweetener, thick cream, and fresh milk until the blend became rich and silky. The incorporation of whiskey, rum, or cognac, occasionally all three, transformed this beverage from refreshment to drinkable festivity. Nutmeg was shaved fresh atop each serving, its fragrant essence releasing scent inseparable from seasonal recollection. Matriarchs held formulas tightly protected, modifying sweetness and alcohol to household taste while preserving fundamental creaminess. Young ones received servings without spirits, observing elders with interest as glasses were topped off and merriment intensified. The beverage was presented chilled in crystal serving vessels, its soft golden hue illuminating tables already covered with delicacies. Preparing eggnog from scratch demanded time and premium components that packaged versions could never duplicate. Oyster stuffing delivered seaside prosperity to African American Christmas spreads, converting conventional cornbread filling with the integration of fresh or preserved oysters incorporated throughout. This preparation followed its origins to low-country and southern shoreline communities where oysters were abundant, and households grasped how their oceanic character could enhance basic components. The cornbread foundation was crushed and combined with cooked celery, onions, and sweet peppers before oysters, and their juice were folded carefully through. Sage, thyme, and black pepper supplied seasoning, while butter and stock maintained everything moist throughout baking. The stuffing surfaced with a bronzed crust, concealing succulent oysters inside, each forkful offering richness that ordinary filling could never replicate. Households reserved this preparation solely for Christmas. Recognizing its difficulty required exceptional celebrations. The preparation exemplified Black culinary refinement, demonstrating Southern cuisine could be simultaneously modest and graceful. Hog maw prepared for Christmas served as a signature dish showcasing the ingenuity handed down through generations of African American households. The pig's stomach was scrubbed thoroughly before being packed with spiced sausage, potatoes, onions, and cabbage, gradually roasted until the exterior skin became crackling and the interior became soft. This preparation could nourish complete extended relatives assembling for seasonal festivities. The process linked Black Americans to Southern heritage and customs, reaching back through enslavement when utilizing every portion of the creature meant sustenance. Cut thick and presented with greens and cornbread, hog maw provided deep, meaty taste that fulfilled the greatest appetite. Youth who matured eating this preparation recalled its unique presentation long after departing home. Though seldom prepared presently, hog maw embodied the complete animal preparation that characterized Black culinary traditions for generations. Syllabub served as the refined Christmas beverage that adorned African American parlors and eating spaces when households desired to dazzle visitors with something polished and festive. This foamy beverage blended cream, sweetener, and wine or sherry, beaten until it transformed light and fluffy, with a coating of froth hovering delicately atop. The roots extended back to early America, where Black cooks in affluent households mastered the method and ultimately introduced it to their own household gatherings. Creating authentic syllabub demanded whisking manually until arms throbbed, a devotion that couldn't be rushed without compromising the crucial consistency. The beverage was presented chilled in the household's best glassware, its soft hue and wispy presentation implying sophistication and festivity. Certain variations incorporated lemon peel or nutmeg for depth, while others maintained the taste clean and straightforward. Syllabub emerged at African American Christmas occasions as an emblem of grace and ambition, evidence that seasonal festivities merited loveliness alongside plenty. Hoghead cheese materialized on Black Christmas spreads as a savory contrast to the sugary confections and hearty main courses that filled holiday displays. This wasn't dairy at all, but a chilled meat dish created by boiling the pig's skull with onions, vinegar, and seasonings until the meat separated from the skeleton. The simmering broth, abundant with natural gelatin, was blended with the pulled meat and molded into blocks that solidified hard when cooled, cut delicately, and presented cold with crackers or bread. Hoghead cheese provided concentrated meaty taste, enhanced by vinegar's sharpness. African American households throughout the South crafted this preparation in the days preceding Christmas, allowing it to solidify overnight so it could be sliced and displayed on serving trays. The technique demanded expertise and perseverance, understanding precisely when the meat was yielding, how much vinegar to incorporate, how solid the completed product should become. Hoghead cheese symbolized the whole animal cooking approach that guaranteed nothing from the festive hog was discarded. Brandied peaches stood as the precious preserves that African American matriarchs stored into storage spaces each summer, anticipating Christmas dawn when they would ultimately grace breakfast spreads. Ripe peaches were meticulously skinned and divided, then cooked in sweetener mixture, flavored with cinnamon, cloves, and ample quantities of brandy until they turned transparent and intensely aromatic. The bottled fruit was spooned into glass containers and secured, their amber contents apparent through the glass, like consumable gems. By December, the peaches had soaked up the brandy entirely, their texture tender and intoxicating with layered sweetness that harmonized fruit, spice, and alcohol. Presented with ham and biscuits, they pierced through the heaviness of holiday morning meal while contributing their own elevated accent. Youth were typically offered only the liquid, while elders relished the spirit-soaked fruit that signified months of expectation. These preserves demanded summer's bounty and December's forbearance, linking the seasons through taste. Pralines stood as the Christmas confection that African-American households in Louisiana and throughout the Gulf Coast produced in quantities substantial enough to pack containers for sharing and storing. These velvety pecan sweets demanded heating sugar, butter, and cream to the exact temperature where confection converts from liquid to something extraordinary. The blend was spooned by dollops onto greased paper, each praline expanding into a round with pecans distributed throughout like gems in honey. Achieving the temperature correctly determined the distinction between pralines that dissolved on the palate and those that became crystalline or wouldn't solidify at all. Matriarchs verified readiness by dropping portions into chilled water, observing for the tender ball phase that indicated ideal consistency. The confection was frequently crafted in the days preceding Christmas, preserved in containers layered with greased paper, and presented for guests who anticipated this generosity. Pralines symbolized the convergence of French, African, and American customs that rendered Louisiana cuisine distinctive. Ambrosia stood as the divine dessert that materialized on African-American Christmas spreads in crystal serving vessels, its tiers of raw fruit and coconut sparkling like consumable gems. This wasn't the basic variation prepared with preserved fruit medley. Authentic ambrosia demanded splitting fresh coconuts to retrieve their sugary meat and liquid. Matriarchs would puncture the coconut's openings, empty the fluid, then split the shell with mallets before extracting the pale flesh to be shredded manually. Raw oranges were skinned and divided, their membranes eliminated so only delicate portions remained. Tiers of coconut, orange, and occasionally pineapple were assembled in presentation dishes, each stratum sprinkled with confectioner's sugar. The completed ambrosia was refrigerated overnight, permitting tastes to combine into something divine. Youth assembled wishing to sample the coconut liquid or steal a cherry before supper. The preparation symbolized Christmas, prosperity, a moment when households indulged on components that converted common fruit into something enchanting. Chitlins occupied a complex but treasured position on African-American Christmas spreads. Their creation a ceremony starting days preceding the celebration that demanded commitment few contemporary cooks maintain. These pig intestines required hours of cleansing, rinsing, scrubbing, and steeping in brined water until every contamination was eliminated. The odor during preparation was powerful and distinctive, declaring to communities that Christmas arrangements were in progress. Cooked gradually with onions, vinegar, and hot pepper flakes, chitlins converted into a specialty that separated even household members. Those who adored them awaited Christmas dawn when serving dishes emerged alongside scrambled eggs and spicy sauce. Those who couldn't tolerate them politely withdrew. The preparation linked African Americans to forebears who converted rejected portions into nourishment, turning endurance into festivity. Chitlins embodied cultural recollection, evidence that honor could be discovered in creating something marvelous from what others discarded. Roasted pig's feet stood as the Christmas preparation that demanded forbearance and a recognition that the finest tastes frequently originated from the least anticipated sources. African American households would initiate preparation by washing and cleaning the feet meticulously before flavoring them with salt, pepper, garlic, and frequently a dash of vinegar. Gradually roasted until the exterior became crackling and the flesh turned fall-apart soft. Pig's feet provided rich, gelatinous consistency that blanketed the palate with meaty fulfillment. The collagen-abundant liquid that gathered in the roasting vessel was preserved for sauce or broth. Presented with collard greens and cornbread, this preparation exemplified the whole animal approach that had nourished Black households for generations. Youth frequently grimaced at the presentation, but those courageous enough to sample found tastes that remained in recollection. The feet were usually crafted by matriarchs who grasped the transformation of converting these modest cuts into something truly mouthwatering. Sweet potato pone served as the compact browned confection that surfaced from African American kitchens during Christmas. Its consistency somewhere between custard and pastry, with a sticky richness that fulfilled the deepest yearnings. Shredded raw sweet potatoes were combined with dark syrup, butter, eggs, and toasty seasonings like cinnamon and nutmeg before being transferred into thick cast iron pans. The blend cooked gentle and prolonged until the surface formed a dark, nearly crystallized coating, while the center stayed moist and velvety. Unlike the airier sweet potato pie, pone was hearty. A single portion could sustain you for hours. Households prepared this preparation when sweet potatoes were abundant and economical, extending the modest root vegetable into something that resembled festivity. The formula demanded no elaborate components, just forbearance and comprehension of how temperature converted starch into sweetener. Sweet potato pone materialized on holiday displays alongside pies and cakes, providing a rustier option to more polished confections. Coconut layer cake soared above African American Christmas dessert spreads, its pristine white icing and liberal covering of fresh coconut, rendering it appear like something from a fantasy. Creating this cake was an entire day undertaking that commenced with splitting coconuts and shredding their meat manually, a chore that left knuckles tender but saturated kitchens with island aroma. The cake tiers themselves were delicate white cake, occasionally enhanced with coconut milk drawn from the fresh meat. Between each tier went airy 7-minute icing, its lustrous paleness offering the ideal backdrop for fistfuls of grated coconut pressed into every area. The completed cake was frequently positioned under glass covers to shield its fragile covering while it awaited Christmas supper. Cutting exposed the ivory interior, each segment releasing the sugary scent of coconut that had become linked with holiday festivity. This cake demanded expertise that younger generations seldom acquired. Boiled custard served as the liquid Christmas confection that African American households presented warm in mugs or cooled over cake, its smooth richness filling the gap between eggnog and vanilla pudding. Creating authentic boiled custard demanded standing over the burner, beating continuously as eggs, sweetener, and milk gradually thickened without separating, a conversion requiring forbearance and focus. The blend was enhanced with vanilla and occasionally a splash of whiskey, then filtered through muslin to guarantee flawless smoothness. Presented warm, it blanketed the gullet with soothing richness on frigid Christmas nights. Drizzled over pound cake or fruit cake, it contributed moisture and sweetness that enhanced simple confections. Matriarchs held their custard formulas tightly protected, each household's interpretation slightly varied in sweetness or flavoring. Youth pleaded for mugs of the warm liquid, its eggy richness gratifying in manners that contemporary puddings never replicated. Boiled custard exemplified the kind of deliberate, mindful cooking that has mostly vanished. Pigtail stew bubbled on African American stovetops during Christmas week, saturating homes with scents that declared both festivity and custom. The tails were initially scrubbed and occasionally cured, then slow-cooked gradually with tomatoes, onions, and whatever vegetables the chef favored, frequently lima beans, potatoes, or butter beans. Hours of preparation converted the tough cartilaginous tails into something yielding and hearty, their natural gelatin enriching the stew into something filling. The meat separated easily from the bones, its meaty taste amplified by extended cooking. Households presented this stew over rice, the grains absorbing the tasty liquid while offering the ideal foundation for the soft meat. Pigtails were affordable, permitting households to generate plenty from humble means. Youth who matured consuming this stew recalled its unique taste and consistency, though few mastered to craft it themselves. The preparation symbolized African American culinary knowledge, recognizing that duration and temperature could convert the most basic components. Watermelon rind pickles stood as the gem-hued preserves that African American matriarchs created each summer and reserved for Christmas dawn's breakfast display. The dense white rind of watermelons, typically thrown away, was meticulously trimmed of its green exterior and crimson flesh, then steeped overnight in lime solution to guarantee firmness. The readied rind were cooked in flavored syrup, laden with cinnamon, cloves, and allspice until they became transparent and absorbed the golden shade of the simmering liquid. Sealed into mason jars, these pickles matured in storage until the holidays when they surfaced alongside ham and biscuits. Their flavor was surprisingly delightful, sugary, sharp, and richly seasoned, with a consistency that cracked between the teeth. The pickles embodied the waste-nothing approach that had supported African American households through difficult times, converting what others abandoned into something worth cherishing. Few contemporary cooks commit the time these preserves demanded. Persimmon pudding served as the seasonal confection that African American households prepared only when wild persimmons matured after the initial freeze. Their bitter flesh converted into something syrupy and layered. Collecting persimmons demanded knowing which trees yielded the most flavorful fruit and anticipating until frost had performed its transformation. Consuming them too soon meant a mouth-puckering encounter no one overlooked. The mature fruit was pressed through sieves to eliminate seeds and peel, creating a dense pulp that formed the pudding's foundation. Blended with flour, eggs, butter, and seasonings, then cooked until firm. Persimmon pudding surfaced compact and dusky, with a taste unlike any other confection. It savored of autumn converted into winter, of forbearance compensated with sweetness. Households presented it warm with beaten cream or hard sauce during Christmas week, its appearance on the spread indicating that someone had devoted the substantial effort demanded. Persimmon pudding linked African American households to the earth and cycles in manners contemporary confections never could. Neck bones and rice functioned as the Christmas Eve dinner that supported African American families before the prosperity of Christmas Day emerged. Its flavorful stock and delicate meat delivering warmth and eagerness. Pork neck bones were charred until golden, then slow-cooked with onions, garlic, and bay leaves until the flesh dropped from the bone and the broth turned thick with natural gelatin. The simmering broth, rich and powerfully spiced, was poured over rice that captured every bit of savory essence. This wasn't elegant cuisine. It was soul food in the most authentic sense, sustaining body and soul while employing budget-friendly cuts that made finances last during a pricey season. Relatives congregated around tables on Christmas Eve, enjoying neck bones and rice while excitement for tomorrow's celebration intensified. The meal needed little beyond duration and warmth. Still, it offered fulfillment that costly cuts couldn't equal. Neck bones illustrated African American cooking expertise about obtaining greatest flavor from limited ingredients. Rum balls served as the unbaked Christmas treats that African American grandmothers prepared in church kitchens and home cupboards. Their spirit-filled sweetness designated strictly for grown-up tastes. Pulverized vanilla wafers were blended with cocoa powder, icing sugar, and corn syrup before ample pours of dark rum changed the combination into something that could be formed into spheres. The final candies were covered in powdered sugar or diced pecans, then kept in tins where they ripened as the rum infused every bit. These weren't kids' sweets. The liquor stayed strong and unheated, giving warmth that flowed through the body. Women shared rum balls as offerings, each collection slightly distinct according to the cook's favorite rum. The candies showed up on dessert displays alongside cookies, their shadowy hue and sugared covering indicating elegance. Preparing rum balls needed no oven, just endurance and commitment to handle the gooey combination until it stayed together. They illustrated holiday luxury that has gradually vanished. Divinity candy represented the pure white treat that examined African American cooks' endurance every Christmas. Its achievement determined by conditions, coordination, and wishes that the sugar would harden correctly. This delicate candy was produced by boiling sugar syrup to the hard ball level, then steadily adding it into beaten egg whites while blending nonstop until thick and airy. Pecans were mixed through before the combination was placed onto waxed paper, each pile solidifying into soft perfection or collapsing into gooey disappointment if dampness intervened. grandmothers rejected to try divinity on stormy days, realizing wetness would stop proper solidifying. When it functioned, divinity liquefied on the tongue with sweetness that felt to drift. The treat was regularly dyed pink or green for seasonal shade, positioned on platters where it appeared like consumable clouds. Divinity symbolized unpredictable candy creation, demanding knowledge and instinct, abilities that fewer cooks currently maintain. Crackling cornbread stood as the Christmas breakfast fundamental that converted processed pork fat into something crunchy and vital to African American holiday mornings. Cracklings, the brittle pieces left after producing lard, were incorporated into cornbread mixture before baking, their meaty crispness contributing texture that regular cornbread couldn't replicate. The cornbread was cooked in cast iron pans heated with bacon fat, forming a crust so crunchy it fractured when split. Households who raised their own pigs preserved cracklings specifically for Christmas. Recognizing this component linked the celebration to autumn slaughtering. Presented alongside eggs, ham, and red-eye gravy, crackling cornbread offered the ideal foundation for absorbing flavor. Youth who matured eating this bread recalled its unique consistency long after departing home. The preparation demanded access to newly rendered cracklings that contemporary cooks seldom create. It symbolized the entire process of raising, butchering, and feasting that characterized rural African American existence. Mincemeat pie brought centuries of custom to African American Christmas spreads. Its thick filling of fruits, spices, and occasionally meat, generating flavors unlike any other holiday confection. African American cooks modified English customs, stuffing jars with combinations of raisins, currants, sugared citrus, apples, suet, and toasty spices that matured for weeks before Christmas. The filling was ladled into pastry crusts and cooked until browned and bubbling with intense sweetness. Some variations contained minced beef or venison, respecting the dish's roots, while others depended on fruits and sweat for depth. The flavor was intricate, sugary, aromatic, and faintly alcoholic from aging brandy. Mincemeat pie was presented warm with hard sauce or beaten cream, its power balanced by chilled creaminess. Households who prepared their own mincemeat grasped the advance work required starting in late fall. This historic dessert has mostly vanished from contemporary Christmas spreads, substituted by easier sweets. Pickled pig ears emerged on African American Christmas buffets as the acidic, chewy specialty that only the bold truly valued. The ears were initially scrubbed completely and boiled until soft, then sliced delicately and sealed into jars with vinegar, onions, and spicy peppers. Weeks of brining converted the cartilaginous ears into something sharp and gratifying, their distinctive consistency offering contrast to the heavy meats and sugary desserts filling holiday displays. Presented chilled directly from the jar, pig ears were consumed with crackers or simply lifted and relished by those who grasped their charm. Youth frequently grimaced, but matriarchs who had matured with this preparation anticipated its presence each Christmas. The brined ears symbolized the waste, nothing approach that had supported African American households through generations of hardship. Creating them demanded advanced planning and endurance. The ears required weeks in marinade to achieve proper taste. Few contemporary cooks attempt this creation anymore. Christmas potato salad served as the velvety, zesty side preparation that materialized on African American holiday spreads with as much ritual as the ham it partnered. Unlike summer gathering versions, Christmas potato salad was creamier and more intricately crafted, frequently featuring diced eggs, sweet pickles, celery, and occasionally olives that raised it above ordinary fare. The potatoes were cooked until just soft, then seasoned while still hot, so they soaked up the mayonnaise and mustard blend entirely. Matriarchs prepared this salad the day preceding Christmas, allowing it to refrigerate overnight so tastes could merge into something superior to the total of basic components. The salad was displayed in the household's finest bowl, its soft yellow shade speckled with the crimson and emerald of pimentos and pickle condiment. Every household had their own interpretation, some sweeter, some sharper, some with components kept hidden from inquisitive neighbors. Christmas potato salad exemplified the kind of handmade from scratch preparation that has yielded to deli section convenience. Giblet gravy stood as the hearty, intensely seasoned sauce that converted Christmas turkey from basic roast into something remarkable and soul-nourishing. The turkey's neck, heart, gizzard, and liver were braised for hours with onions and celery until they became yielding, and the simmering liquid transformed into concentrated poultry extract. The prepared giblets were minced fine and added back to the stock, which was enriched with flour and flavored until it achieved gravy excellence. This wasn't the light gravy from packages. Giblet gravy was deep, layered, and held the distinctive flavor of Christmas supper. African American cooks recognized that the giblets, frequently thrown away by rushed contemporary cooks, held taste that the breast meat alone couldn't deliver. The gravy was poured abundantly over turkey stuffing and whipped potatoes, connecting the whole meal together. Youth who matured with giblet gravy discovered commercial alternatives impossibly tasteless by comparison. Preparing authentic giblet gravy demanded endurance and the commitment to utilize every portion of the fowl. Cornmeal cookies stood as the modest Christmas delicacies that African American matriarchs produced when butter cookies appeared too costly. These straightforward cookies blended cornmeal with flour, sweetener, eggs, and whatever fat was obtainable, lard, shortening, or butter, producing a consistency both crumbly and fulfilling. The cornmeal contributed subtle grain and earthiness that separated these cookies from refined flour relatives. Enhanced with vanilla, nutmeg, or lemon peel, they were shaped into basic forms and cooked until browned. Youth adored them for their sweetness, and grown-ups valued their affordability. Cornmeal extended further than premium flour alone. The cookies were stored into containers and distributed as offerings, their humble presentation masking the attention in their formation. Cornmeal cookies symbolized the resourceful thrift of African American baking, converting budget-friendly components into something worth distributing. They have mostly vanished as store-bought cookies became less expensive than handmade alternatives. Mayhaw jelly stood as the uncommon Christmas preserve that materialized only in households where someone understood the untamed secrets of southern marshes and lowlands. Mayhaw, tiny tart fruits that flourished on trees positioned in shallow water, were collected in spring, their fleeting season requiring swift action from those who appreciated their distinctive flavor. The fruits were simmered and filtered to obtain ruby crimson juice that was heated with sugar until it solidified into something both sharp and sugary. Unlike any commercial preserve, African American households in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama cherished this jelly, reserving it exclusively for Christmas breakfast when it emerged alongside biscuits and country ham. The taste was intricate, fruity, but with an untamed quality that reflected places where only the brave wandered. Creating Mayhaw jelly demanded knowing where the trees existed, arriving at exactly the right time, and grasping the unpredictable nature of gelling. This regional treasure stays mostly unfamiliar outside its native territory. Molasses pull candy served as the Christmas delicacy that converted candy creation into household entertainment, demanding power, endurance, and abundant buttered palms. Molasses was heated with sugar until it achieved the hard crack phase, then transferred onto greased marble surfaces or buttered trays to cool. When the candy had cooled sufficiently to handle, but was still flexible, household members would begin pulling, extending the dark mass between buttered palms until it brightened in shade and achieved the right consistency. Youth took turns pulling, their arms becoming weary as the candy converted from sticky darkness to amber strands. The completed candy was braided into ropes and sliced into portions that solidified into chewy delights with intense molasses taste. Creating pull candy was as much about unity as about the end product. Households assembled in kitchens, laughing as sticky candy extended between them. This collective candy creation custom has mostly disappeared from Christmas festivities. Fried chicken gizzards converted organ meat into crispy, chewy morsels that cost nearly nothing per pound, but fulfilled like costly steaks never could. The gizzards were completely scrubbed, boiled until soft, then coated in spiced flour blended with paprika, garlic powder, cayenne, and black pepper before being deep fried until browned. The outcome was crunchy exterior with solid, meaty consistency, inside that provided protein and iron while costing portions of what chicken breasts cost at any store. Street sellers offered them in paper sacks at fish shacks and corner shops throughout African American communities during weekends and festivities. Households prepared them at home for weekend occasions, presenting them with hot sauce and saltine crackers for ideal pairing. In the 1970s, gizzards cost under 50 cents per pound, rendering them accessible protein for households on incredibly limited budgets. Fried gizzards symbolized refusal to discard any portion of the chicken, converting organs into genuinely tasty food people actively desired. Cheese wafers created with sharp cheddar and butter formed crispy, salty crackers that youth devoured by the handful. Their handmade excellence far superior to anything commercial could provide. Matriarchs would blend softened butter with finely grated sharp cheddar cheese, then slowly incorporate flour, salt, and cayenne pepper until the blend formed a rigid dough. The dough was shaped into logs, wrapped in wax paper, and refrigerated until solid, then cut into thin rounds and cooked until browned and crispy. As they cooked, the cheese liquefied into the butter and flour, forming crackers that were hearty, savory, and irresistibly crunchy with just a touch of heat from the cayenne. In 1970s African American homes, cheese wafers exemplified Southern custom and generosity, formulas that had been handed down through generations. Youth adored cheese wafers because they tasted like cheesy potato chips but felt more refined since they were homemade. Lard cake stood as the darling of difficult times, the kind of confection that restored joy when butter was a fantasy, created from flour, sweetener, and a dollop of lard rescued from breakfast. They cooked up tender and aromatic. The scent saturated the home. Buttery without butter, decadent without cream. People labeled them hardship cakes, but they savored like triumph. The lard maintained them moist for days, and a hint of spice or dark syrup made them taste like something from a pastry shop. Youth licked the fragments from their fingertips, not minding that it originated from the same container used for frying eggs. Every household had their own interpretation, some with raisins, some with cinnamon, each one dignified and individual. Lard cakes were a testament that sweetness was not about extravagance. It was about creativity. They were evidence that affection could emerge from shortage, cooked golden in weathered pans, and distributed without embarrassment. In kitchens overflowing with merriment and economy, lard cakes converted necessity into pleasure. Chicken neck gravy stood as the very essence of expanding scraps into a complete meal. Poultry was costly and few households could afford substantial cuts, so nothing from a chicken ever went to waste. Necks were braised gradually to extract every bit of taste, then enriched into a gravy with flour and drippings. Drizzled over rice, mashed potatoes, or biscuits, it converted the most affordable part of the fowl into something satisfying and soothing. Households anticipated it because it extended one bird into multiple meals, guaranteeing nothing was discarded. This kind of ingenuity characterized survival preparation, and for many African American households in the South, it was commonplace. Chicken neck gravy might not have been elegant, but it symbolized dignity in creating the most out of very little. It also held the sensation of home, the aroma of gravy bubbling on the burner, and the comfort of knowing everyone at the table would depart nourished. Molasses stack cake served as the tiered gathering dessert that transported Appalachian heritage into African American family occasions where customs merged and journeyed through generations. Delicate cake tiers were cooked one at a time in well-oiled pans, each one tender, warm, and releasing ginger, cinnamon, and profound molasses richness. The filling was crafted from heated molasses or seasoned fruit distributed into lustrous tiers that mellowed the cake as it settled overnight, converting the complete stack into a soft, intensely flavored confection that sliced cleanly into elevated portions. The cake was modest yet striking, constructed from repetition, forbearance, and steady hands operating in rehearsed rhythm across the kitchen. At gatherings, it distinguished itself because its taste was comforting and traditional, and its stature made people assemble around with interest and admiration. Every morsel contained slow winter preparation, farm-grown molasses, and the recollection of cooks who expanded ingredients into something festive. Molasses stack cake savored like duration effort, and affection layered deliberately into something sugary enough to distribute across an entire household. Fatback and greens formed the basis of innumerable soul food meals, with preserved pork fat converting bitter vegetables into something genuinely appetizing and absolutely mouthwatering. Dense slices of fatback were melted gradually in cast iron pans until the fat liquefied out and the remaining meat browned into cracklings worth competing over. Collard, mustard, or turnip greens were introduced to the melted fat along with vinegar, spicy sauce, and flavorings, then prepared low and slow for hours until yielding. The greens soaked up the pork fat's depth, becoming flavorful while retaining some of their natural firmness and consistency throughout preparation. The pot liquor that emerged was deemed liquid treasure, consumed from bowls or absorbed up with cornbread eagerly. In the 1970s, fatback was among the most economical items at any butcher, frequently costing less than butter per pound for households monitoring every penny. Fatback and greens symbolized maximum taste from minimum expenditure, demonstrating that fat wasn't the adversary, but rather the secret. Stuffed celery with cream cheese and pimento formed colorful vessels that youth picked up by their crunchy handles. The velvety filling contrasting ideally with the crisp, fresh vegetable that supplied texture amidst holiday excess. Mothers would rinse and trim celery stalks, slicing them into 3-inch lengths before drying them completely and positioning them on serving platters like little canoes. The filling was crafted by whipping cream cheese until airy, then incorporating diced pimentos, mayonnaise, and flavorings like garlic powder, onion powder, and black pepper. The cream cheese blend was applied generously into each celery channel, heaped slightly, and occasionally decorated with paprika, minced olives, or crispy bacon. In African American homes during the 1970s, stuffed celery symbolized an effort to incorporate something fresh among weightier holiday selections. Youth adored them because the cream cheese supplied richness, while celery contributed refreshing crunch. Eggshell pudding stood as an act of pure resourcefulness, a sugary custard constructed from things no one imagined could be utilized. Households preserved eggshells, cleaned and dried them, then crushed them into powder for additional calcium. That powder entered into milk, sweetener, and cornstarch, whisked together until it thickened over the burner. It solidified in jars or bowls, silky and light, a confection that appeared modest but possessed the flavor of forbearance. It was tender, moderately sweet, and held the delicate scent of vanilla if a household could manage it. Youth thought it was wonder, how fragments converted into something delightful. It satisfied more than stomachs. It satisfied souls with appreciation. Eggshell pudding was the assurance that nothing had to go to waste, that even the tiniest remnants had value. In every spoonful was the essence of perseverance, a hushed hymn to survival performed right from the kitchen burner. When the cake was ultimately released, it rose tall and amber with a solid texture that cut cleanly and never fell apart, even when transported from house to car to gathering hall. Some households favored it plain, allowing its tender, buttery taste radiate, while others drizzled a lustrous lemon coating over the top, letting it cascade down the sides and adhere sweetly to the borders. Pound cake was cherished because it savored like dedication and forbearance, and because it nourished a crowd without ever requiring embellishment. It journeyed well, positioned proudly on every dessert display, and never failed to vanish piece by piece as people wandered by with paper plates in hand. It was not theatrical, but it was remarkable because it savored like home gathering memories and hands that understood exactly how long to whip the batter. Peanut soup had profound origins in West African preparation and transferred over into the kitchens of African American homes during times of shortage. Households would simmer peanuts until tender, crush them into a paste, and blend them into broth with onions and flavorings. The outcome was a velvety, nutty soup that satisfied stomachs without depending on costly meat. Because peanuts were broadly available and affordable, this preparation became a reliable source of protein and solace. It could be presented plain with bread or enriched with vegetables to extend even further. Youth matured tasting peanut soup as a warm, nourishing preparation that eased hunger while bearing the trace of older customs. The taste was earthy and fulfilling, reminding households of both strength and cultural origins. Peanut soup demonstrated that the most budget-friendly ingredients could still create something notable, sustaining entire families during challenging seasons. It was not just soup, it was survival nourishment with heritage infused into every bowl. Mustard greens with ham hocks provided sharp, spicy flavors that complemented the smoky pork ideally while supplying vitamins and minerals crucial for health and sustained wellness. The greens were washed meticulously, then prepared low and slow with ham hocks, onions, vinegar, and spicy sauce until yielding, but still preserving some consistency throughout. The sharpness softened during preparation, offset by the pork's salinity and the vinegar's acidity, forming intricate flavors that evolved over hours of patient braising. The pot liquor was deemed especially precious, loaded with vitamins extracted from the greens and abundant with pork taste worth relishing. Households presented this with cornbread and hot sauce, with youth learning to value the sharp notes that many initially rejected eating. In the 1970s, mustard greens flourished easily in southern gardens and could be obtained cheaply at markets when homegrown weren't available for harvesting. Mustard greens with ham hocks exemplified southern preparation knowledge, revealing how proper technique rendered even sharp vegetables into food people actually desired to consume. Pan-fried gizzards were the kind of dish that demonstrated forbearance was as vital as any spice. Rigid and chewy at first, these remnants of poultry were converted through slow scrubbing, flavoring, and frying into golden morsels of dignity. A bowl of spiced flour, a splash of buttermilk, and a heated cast-iron pan were all it required to convert what most people overlooked into something worth assembling for. The gizzards sizzled in oil until they were crunchy on the exterior and soft within, each one bearing the smoky flavor of hard work and soul. Households would stack them high on paper towels, observing the steam ascend like a guarantee that supper was ready. Every batch felt deserved, every crunch a testament that taste came from attention, not riches. Youth nibbled at the edges, drenching the last pieces in spicy sauce, while matriarchs nodded in acknowledgement. Pan-fried gizzards were nourishment that reflected ingenuity, a festivity of creating something exceptional from nothing. They saturated kitchens with the sound of crackling survival, the aroma of flavoring that remained long after the plates were cleared. In every morsel was evidence that economy could savor. Like victory, sock-it-to-me cake arrived at gatherings in substantial bundt pans, transported carefully by aunties who understood the warm spiced swirl inside would be consumed before the day concluded. The mixture was blended thick and silky, then tiered with a ribbon of cinnamon sugar and diced nuts that cooked into a concealed filling decadent enough to deserve its reputation. When the cake expanded in the oven, the air saturated with the fragrance of spice, warmth, and sweetness, floating through kitchens and across picnic shelters until people began inquiring who prepared it. Once cooled, it released beautifully with a bronze crust and a delicate crumb that cut precisely, exposing the dark, sweet swirl inside. A basic glaze drizzled over the top provided it a gentle luster and made each portion taste like something fashioned with expertise passed down over generations. Sock-it-to-me cake transformed into a gathering favorite because it seemed special without being elaborate, and because its comforting tastes made every person at the table feel embraced. Old-fashioned tea cakes savored like peaceful afternoons and childhood trips to Grandma's house. Their tender sugar cookie consistency bearing a mild vanilla scent, butter, sweetener, and fresh eggs were whipped together until airy, then blended with flour and a touch of nutmeg to form a dough that refrigerated before baking. Shaped and sliced into basic circles, the cakes rose slightly as they cooked, saturating the kitchen with a sugary, buttery fragrance. Neither excessively sweet nor tasteless, they achieved an ideal harmony that encouraged dunking in tea or milk. Households valued these cookies for their straightforwardness and the way they encouraged dialogue, frequently baking them in substantial batches to distribute with neighbors. In the 1970s, tea cakes were a gentle cornerstone of African American generosity, a connection to centuries of custom. Each tender bite held the warmth of home and the recollection of caring hands, reminding everyone that sometimes the most modest desserts are the ones that remain longest in the soul. Which Christmas soul food would you restore to your holiday spread? Share your recollections in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe so we can maintain these vanished customs alive together.